Hello everyone. So in this video we're going to start working with the data set to cluster the data. So this video will take about 15 minutes and then I will hold this video and then I'll give you about 13 minutes to execute what I covered in this video, and then I'll give you another 15-minute video that you have to also execute in 15 minutes. So it's a total of 30 minutes of videos, 2 different videos, and 30 minutes you working on reproducing what's explained in the video. All right, first step. We are going to work with this data set. More specifically, we are going to start with the clients and the offer number data set, the transaction sheet. So I would like you to select the first cell, A1. So this is how we identify the cell name, A1. A is the column name and 1 is the row number. And then hit to insert and insert a pivot table in a new worksheet is okay. And you see that Excel is very smart. It's gonna detect the data range on its own and hit OK. Now you are going to move immediately to a new sheet. Call this sheet pivot table. And then begin. How do I begin? All right, I'll tell you how to begin. Check offer number and the client number. However, I would like the client number to be on the value, to be on the columns, as you can see here, and on the rows, I would like you to have the offer number. So first of all, you need, actually, you don't have to check these. You can just drag. You use your index, the left button of the mouse, click on it and drag. Move the mouse, drag it all the way down to rows, and here all the way down to columns, and then over here offers, you can drop it there, but instead of the sum of the offers, we just would like to get the count. So please go to value fields and go to count, and now you will have it as a flag. So this transaction, in fact, a transaction will show you that Smith was interested in this offer and in this offer, but it doesn't tell you how many times he ordered these offers. So we don't have the order numbers, but we know that these are the distinct offers. Why am I explaining this? Because I know for sure some of you has family businesses and maybe they are going to reproduce this with their little data set from their daddy, from their mommy. So the first thing you need to do is to prep this Excel sheet, this sheet of your client names and just the offers that they were interested in. No repetition, in a sense that there's a Smith, I see repetitions. What are you talking about? No, I'm talking no repetitions in the pair. Smith 2 is different than Smith 24. There is no Smith 2, Smith 2. There's a Smith 2 and then there's Smith 24. Johnson 17, Johnson 24, Johnson 26. So once you prep that, yeah, you can, of course, insert a pivot table as we have here. Please drag the whole sheet here so that you will have an organized system. So now I would like you to start a new sheet, and in this new sheet I would like you to go over to this data set and just copy these columns. How do you copy the columns? Move the mouse over to the B, to the label, to the C. You see, it's over the C. It's not over here, it's over here. And then click. Wow, magic. Magic. And then copy that. And here we go. Then I would like you to go to the pivot table and copy this table, but please copy also the names of the clients, right? So we know which client, which is which. So I'm gonna want you to copy from here the name of the clients and be patient. You could just hold Ctrl Shift and go down and then delete this row, or just be patient and drag. So you don't need the grand total. So please don't get the grand total. But if you want to get the grand total and then delete it, it's okay. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm a very quick person. So the way I do it is I click on this cell and then I hold down with my thumb the control key, and then with my left arm, my left hand, and then with my index, I will hold the shift. So I will, with my thumb, hold down the control key, and then while I'm holding the control key, I'm gonna click shift and hold it, and then use my arrows. So this is the right arrow here, and this is the down arrow, and then I am here in no time copied with Control C, I was able to copy this area. Hold down Control and C. And then over here, I can just paste that. However, if you guys move the cursor all the way to the end, we don't need the grand total. So basically you need to delete this. So delete this by either selecting and deleting, and please do not forget to delete also this row. Select and delete. So here we go. Now we have the column and the row deleted, and we have signaled the offers. And if you noticed, I told you not to copy the offer number in here, right? Because no need for repetitions, because I'm gonna put the offer number here. So instead of row label, put offer number. Perfect, offer number. Okay, let's begin with, I forgot, did we begin with 5 maybe or 4? Let me check my data. Would like to check just very quickly if I would like you to train. I maybe would want you to train on 4 and then train on 5. Okay, so let's train on 4 first of all, yeah, and then we're gonna train on 5. Okay, so let's train on 4. What do you mean? I mean, as a person who just looked at the scatter plot from the previous video, I'm gonna say, okay, let's start with 4 different clusters or 4 different groups. So do you see Adam here? You just need to, do you see how I'm selecting the whole column? You see mouse over onto H and the click. And then right click anywhere in the selection and hit insert. 1, 2, and if you want to speed up the process, you can select both of them and hit insert. Then it is multiplied. But then remember, here I want 5. So over here, maybe I'll change the color. Wow, what a color, Nora. Let's change to a nicer, cooler color. Yeah, it's a cool and nice. Okay, so here I'm gonna need this. Ta-da! We need here. I'm gonna name it a cluster 1 or a okay, a cluster 2, a cluster 3, a cluster 4, and the cluster 5. And you know what? No need for extra spacing. So here, I'm just gonna, this is not very necessary. Just for aesthetic purposes, I'm gonna zoom it like that, and then all these guys here, I am going to highlight them. So let's imagine that this is the distance between this point and this point of the cluster. As I told you earlier in the previous video, we're not talking about just data points. We're talking about a whole vector. A vector or an array is a list or an array of data points that has magnitude and direction. So there is a set of data points here that forms a vector that represents cluster 1, and the same for Adam's offers, Alan's offers, and so on, all the other clients. This vector, however, has the values of 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. So the position of 1 does have a meaning. Where is it positioned? It has a meaning. So I would like to know what would be the best position of the centroid. Actually, this is the centroid 1, centroid 2, centroid 3. So this is the centroid of each cluster. What would be the best position? If Adam has this vector, and this vector displays information about the magnitude and the direction of its vector, the vector of its offers, so the position basically, let's say in the coordinates, then this whole vector represents also the position of the centroid in cluster 1. And I would like the computer to make so many iterations, repetitions, as we explained earlier in the previous video of the clustering technique, the algorithm. I would like it to make it in such a way that the distances between these vectors here and these vectors here is minimized. Okay, I understand. All right, so I'm going to do one more little thing here. I'm going to add this line so that I know that this is at the end of the data. So basically, I would like to compute a distance. Oh, yes, this is what we were talking about. All right, let's compute the distance. Right away? Right away, yes. Well, let me just show you the different the distance for the k-means clustering that we use is the Euclidean distance. With the Euclidean distance, basically here, the distance measurement in the Euclidean distance. So for example, we have the x-axis and the y-axis. So this, forget about these two lines. Let's just talk about the distance. The distance is d, is this line over here. And it is the straight line between x1, y1 and x2, y2. All right. So how do we find this distance? Well, Euclidean, based on the Euclidean distance, we find this distance by projecting a vertical line from x2, y2 over here that crossroads with the vertical line from x1, y1, and then by squaring and taking the square root of the sum of squares, then we will find the Euclidean distance. So the distance here and the distance here is found by x2 minus x1, and this is y2 minus y1, of course, because this is y2, this is y1, so y2 minus y1, this is x1, this is x2, so it's x2 minus x1, this is the distance. So x2 minus x1, yeah, so it's x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1. However, because we would like to account for the negative and positive orientation, like if here it is like minus y2 or something, so we are going to take the square of the difference. So we're going to take x2 minus x1 is squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Does it make sense? I think it should make sense. First of all, this is the distance d. We can't find this distance easily. We need to project this line here vertically and this line here horizontally until they meet, so that this distance is found through the Euclidean distance or the Pythagoras theory, and it is equal to x2 minus x1 squared, because in case that x2 is negative or, and y, or in case that x2 is less than x1, let's say that this way, and y2 minus y1. As you can see here, I put it here x1 minus x2, y1 minus y2, even though y1 is smaller than y2. It doesn't make a difference from x2 minus x1 squared is equal to x2 minus x1 squared, right? The only there's no difference. It's just the idea that If it is 2 minus 4, it will be minus 2. Square minus 2 is 4, always positive. If I do 4 minus 2, it is 2. 2 squared is 4. It's the same thing. So this is why we're taking the squares. And we sum the squares, so it's the square root. So we need to translate this into Excel. All right. So we're going to find, and as you can see, this is treated as a vector. So this point has a vector of two elements, and this is as a vector of 2 elements. So each corresponding, and the difference between each corresponding elements between 2 vectors, we take the sum of these differences, the square differences. The sum of the squared differences. Sum squared difference. Actually, we're taking the square root of that. So we need to start with the square root. Do you agree with me? I hope you do. So let's begin. So I'm going to start with the equal sign so that I can signal to Excel that I am going to input a function. So I'm going to start with the square root. Square root is a function that takes a square root. So this is the first step. It's the square root. Perfect. Square root of what? Of the sum of a difference. Okay, so let's start with the sum now. Okay, here is the sum. Also, sum is a function in Excel that sums whatever in the arguments, the brackets. The sum of what? The sum of the difference of this minus this. However, it should be squared. So I'm going to put it as squared. And here we go. Look, it is red, it's not black. This red is the closure of this red. This purple is the closure of this purple that we opened up. Now we need to close one more so that it's black. And now this is the let me show you where you can find it here. Everything is available in the slides. So it's a square root of the sum of this minus this all squared. So you can see that I have some dollar signs, crazy dollar signs here. Why is that so? It is so because I am not going to write this function again and again over and over throughout all the cells. I am going to copy that. And for me to copy that, I am actually going to just give a reference here. This reference shouldn't be like this. Shouldn't be. This should be just the M. Actually, the reference here should be only the number here. I keep on deleting the wrong one. So over here, we're just going to have the M2 to M33. And then this one, I'm going to reference it like that. Okay? And then all squared. So this is it. Is it? Let's see. Would it work? Oh, it didn't work. Why is that? I'll tell you why is that. This kind of function, lovely people, is not just a normal function. This is have an array. Can't you see that you are telling it smartly to take this point minus this point plus this point minus this point? Actually, this point minus this point is squared, plus this point minus this point squared, plus this point minus this point squared. But it was put in a very neat way, which is by the whole selection. And you want Excel to understand all this on its own without giving it even a hint that we are using ranges and vectors and arrays rather than just points. Then we need to give it a consideration. How do we do that? you at the very first, you just hit enter, and this is why you got value undefined. I'm going to tell you click inside until you view the function, and then hold down the shift key and then hit enter while you are holding the down the shift key with your thumb. And yeah. Okay, something happened. Control Shift Enter. Do you see? Even I need to update my knowledge. Or for Mac, use the Command and Return. Command is proxy for Control on Windows, and Return is for, I think, no, it's just Command and Return on Mac. But on Windows, you guys need also the Control and Shift and Enter. So you need 3 fingers. The thumb on the control, the index on the shift, and the thumb of the other hand on the enter. Wow, here we go. Let me tell you something. Take a look here. Do you see that Excel added these curly brackets before the equal sign? Oh wow, that's true. Oh yes, it's true. It's an equal. It's a curly brackets before the equal sign. This to indicate that it's an array function. All right, so now you told me I don't have to write this again and again, right? Yes, so let me show you how you can actually copy the formulas. Before I do that, let me first show you something. Do you see? This is minus this one, this cluster 1. Now, why don't we add here, for example, we put cluster distance from cluster 1. Let's be very neat. Distance from cluster 1. Actually, centroid 1, let's say. Centroid 1. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. So now what do I need to do? You need the distance from centroid 2 and centroid 3 and centroid 4 and centroid 5. Look what happened. Magic, isn't it? I just mouse over on the corner and drag that, and look at that. If it didn't work, make sure that you fill the series. If it just copies cells and the numbers never change, you just hit fill series. And now let me show you how we can fill that too. So also mouse over to the corner. Once you are on the corner, click on the mouse key and drag down. And look what happens. It's the same distance. Oh, you know why? Because you need for the second centroid, where is the second centroid? It's from cluster 2, so you need to just fix that. And hit enter. Are you serious? Are you gonna ask me to hit enter? You told me that this is an array function. I'm gonna hit Control Shift and enter. And here we go. So now, third, this is first, second, third centroid, and be careful, Control Shift and enter for Windows, and Command Return for Mac. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. Control Shift and enter. And then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Command Shift and Control Shift and enter. And now we are ready to rock and roll. How is that so? Basically, select all this, and then on the corner, click the mouse key and drag. So now this is all copied throughout the Excel sheet until the end. You see, here's the end. Do you see that? Now, I advise before you copy that, in fact, I'm quite experienced, but I advise that for you guys to make sure that the referencing is done nicely. So hit here let's take a look. Okay, nice. Oh, look what did I do? I have to go open and here. Okay, again, yes, it is from M2 until the end. Perfect. 3, perfect. 4, perfect. 5, perfect. And this is it. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, I think it is lovely indeed. So now these are the centroids. Because I don't want to make the video too long, I think now I have about 24 minutes. I promised with 15. So I'm gonna quit here, and then I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.